What's good, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony, aka the Center of Chaos and Controversy, and I'm gonna tell you right now, this video is gonna trigger a lot of people. Those in particular that are followers of a particular person, those who run to the defense of a particular person, those who condone some of the rhetoric of this particular person. This video is directed towards you guys, okay? And I'm gonna say this. Normally, I don't do videos to really run to the defense of someone who I just follow. You know, and there's a difference between following and supporting. Um, my boy Ricky Manor, I support and follow. The Amazing Lucas, I just follow and give my opinions about. But, damn, I'm going to be very condescending, and yes, God damn, there's going to be some triggers in this conversation, okay? And maybe coming from me, this might enlighten some people to the point that was given, because it seems like whenever a statement is made, people get highly offended and focus only on that, not understanding the point that was trying to be made. And I think 9 times out of 10, it's intentional to deflect or ignore anything else that is being said in order to grasp the understanding of the point. Okay, so I didn't want to do this, but being that I had to deal with a ignorant individual in one of the comment section under escaping the echo chamber, which is a good channel to follow, because he pretty much have balanced this thing. And even though he tries to point out some of the hypocrisy and why conflicts exist and stuff, and the differences of one narrative versus another, he does a good job at pointing that out. So shout out to the echo chamber. But it was under his video, which is why I'm doing this video, that someone has said, I don't understand why the Amazing Lucas had to mention Brandon Tatum's white wife and kids. And that's the only thing that stood out of a long video. That's the one thing that people decided to get triggered and upset and be offended by. Okay? Wow. This is coming from a person who I myself am a product of an interracial relationship. My biological mom was white. My dad was black. I myself am involved with, or should I say, I've been involved with white women. Are you triggered because I said I was involved with white women? I have biological kids. You see videos of me with my son, who is also mixed. Got a fairer complexion, curly hair, brownish blondish, blue eyes. My daughter looks exactly like me. Her mom's Italian. She got the straight, nice hair. It looks identical to me. Okay? My son has thicker hair. Has an olive complexion. His mom is Jewish. Okay? Are people going to get offended because I said that my son's mom was Jewish? Is that triggering for some people? Does that get some people offended because that's what I said? Or is it okay because I'm mixed and that's who I was involved with, so I can speak on it? I just want to know. Now, the point that Lucas was trying to make, since somebody wanted to call me ignorant, okay, and I'm responding in this video with my rebuttal now. The point that he was trying to make is that when you have a person who is black, okay, and for the most part, not in every case, but for the most part, when their ideology changes or when they convert from having this perspective or seeing things a certain way or behaving a certain way to something else, there's usually a reason behind it, okay? When people used to be for a community, now you're looking down on a community, there's a reason behind that, okay? And usually 9 times out of 10, when you get to a point in your life where you feel that you're better than where you came from, and I'm not talking about success, I'm not talking about not being part of the criminal element, I'm not talking about, whatever, but when you disown a group of people who aren't all of the criminal element, do go work, have successes in life. I gave the example of my parents. I pointed out my upbringing. Okay? Now, what the amazing Lucas, and I interpreted it for the dumb people who just wanted to purposely act stupid and just jump on the, well, he said that Brandon Tatum had a white wife and had white kids. He was solely pointing out the fact, and I'm sure this was understood, but y'all decided to get triggered just to be all up in your feelings, right? Because you always want to run to the aid of Brandon Tatum. There's nothing wrong with being in an interracial relationship. I support that, okay? I actually called in on that exact disagreement day that Lucas had and was talking about that very same issue. And I was talking about my disagreements. And I said I disagreed with the conversation somewhat around it, but I understood. I understood it. And where my understanding comes into play when it comes to that is that when black people want answers, when they've had a black person not really speaking for them, representing them, but speaking against them and down on them, and mostly representing the white community, so to speak, praising them, holding them up on the pedestal, idolizing them, but yet criticizing and putting down the black community, only exploiting and focusing on the negative, as if there's no negatives when it comes to the white people who Brandon Tatum seems to give high praises to. And Lucas was explaining why some people would be upset with that. And especially when it comes to black women. Black women look at a Brandon Tatum and say, oh, I get it. You with a white woman. So that's the reason why you talking reckless about the black community. That's the reason why you feel so comfortable with saying half the shit that comes out of your mouth. But if you ever do decide to say anything remotely close to criticizing white people, you're very particular and careful in how you say certain things. Okay? Now, for the people who got triggered, right? Why weren't you equally triggered when Brandon Tatum was on that panel talking reckless to Hotep Jesus? Acting, you want to get gangster, nigga? You want to get gangster, nigga? I promise you, I'm whooping your ass, nigga. But that was acceptable. But you know what? But you want to know what happened when that surfaced? Oh, people are allowed to make mistakes. People are allowed to, are you perfect? Are you perfect? Okay, so if that's the argument that you want to put on display, utilize as your talking point, then be fair going across the board then. Don't just cherry pick certain shit to want to condemn other people for, but then give others a pass based on their behavior. What if I was to say I got offended that he used the fucking N-word? Is every black, white, or Latino person that support Brandon Tatum going to sit there and agree? Or are you going to find some way to justify why he went off the rails? I'm just curious. I just want to know. Now I sit there, or are you part of the echo chamber that agree with everything that Brandon Tatum says? Now, here's something, right? People want to sit there and talk about how ignorant the Mason Lucas is. Now, it was okay for Brandon Tatum to change, right? It was okay when he was pro-black or whatever the case may be, as he, gave his testimony on his transition from the black community to being basically pro-white, okay? Which I don't have a problem with. Again, I don't have a problem with. You have the right to pick and choose whatever the fuck you want to pick and choose, right? Me, I balance the scales. I talk about right and wrong. I talk about what's wrong in the black community, but I also talk about what's right in the black community. I talk about things in the white community that's wrong in the white community, what's wrong, and then I point out what's right. I said, yes, there are some issues in the black community that has to do with the black on black crime and the senseless acts of many individuals. But I also give recognition to the black people that are educated, that attend college, that have these jobs, that are entrepreneurs and stuff. And you know what I exclude? What I exclude when I give recognition to those in the black community that are an asset. I exclude actors, I exclude musicians, rap artists, and what you call athletes. I don't count them or include them into the equation of. Now, when it comes to defending white people, I talk about the crimes that they do. When it comes to like them murdering their children and other heinous acts, that's just some things you just can't stomach, and wonder how anybody could do that to your kids or kill your family. That's some sadistic shit. And there be thought, and there's a thought process behind what they do. The mass shootings. And hitman for hire. Crimes of passion. People that are in these relationships that they want to be with their mistress, so or they kill their girlfriends or their boyfriends. Have cults or even being racist. There's a lot of shit that I could say about white people, but I also acknowledge the white people that are productive in society, that aren't racist, that have had their contributions in history to help bring about equality, that have done things for black people that black people haven't done for other black people. You think I don't acknowledge a lot of things? I don't just stick to one narrative. I try to balance the scales as equally as I possibly can. See why I'm eating this banana? hmm I'm being a real asshole right now. So when it comes to Brandon Tatum, like I said, I don't agree with a good portion of his rhetoric. But have I pointed out that I say he does have valid points? on some of the things that he addresses, yes, I acknowledge that. I pointed it out. But when he talks about race, when he only focuses on the negative, and I pointed out it's dangerous because now you're trying to paint a group with a broad, and I'm against generalizing. I have to check myself when it comes to generalizations, because if I talk about a particular subject, say law enforcement, I talk about the bad cops because it needs to be addressed, because it's a problem that needs to be fixed, because when you have these officers in a position of authority, there's a great responsibility that comes with that job. Because if you can use your position to fuck somebody else over, it's a big issue with me. Yes, it is. But I also acknowledge there are people who are officers that do a good job, that have saved lives. I've seen stories where they saved little kids and stuff, black kids at that. And then years later, when the kids are all grown, they go and pay their respects, give them their roses, say thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. But on the flip side of that coin, there are officers that are the reason why there are people that are no longer here. So, it's crazy how, and then so when Brandon Tatum made the transition from one to the other when it came to his life and stuff, that was acceptable, okay? You know what? Do you, bro? I don't got no problem with that. But why is it a problem when Lucas had one perspective of things, and then he decided to start questioning his own rhetoric? And then when he was like, hold up, wait a minute, I've been a little too harsh over here. Maybe I should take a step back because somebody checked him on it. The same way people are checking Brandon Tatum on his rhetoric. And I've noticed he's getting a little better. He's getting a little better. But Lucas decided to educate himself, to go pick up a book, to go read, to learn about those who he was criticizing, to get more knowledge. Because you do come off sounding ignorant when you know little to nothing of what you're talking about. I look things up. I read things. I've read books. Especially those concerning the actual events when it comes to the Tuskegee Airmen, this Tuskegee experiment, the Tulsa Massacre, the bombing on Black Wall Street, Rosewood, the Civil Rights Movement. I even went as far as to look up the whole topic about black people owning slaves or in Africa, black people selling other black people to the Europe. Damn, who was it? Was it the French? Damn, I forget. But they were tribes though, and it was basically when they conquered another tribe, it was broken down into classes like how we have classes here, and how you perceive the term of slaves or servitude was completely to the terms and definition of slavery here in America. And there's a channel that touches basically upon that. I gotta look it up and find it. But so when Lucas decided to make a transition to trying to balance the scales in his talking points, talking about, okay, if I'm gonna criticize this group, I'm not gonna exclude the other group from criticism. I'm going to point out the nonsense and the bullshit and the fuckery that's going on all the way around. And when you break yourself away from a one-sided narrative, people don't like that. They want you to be on that train of ignorance. Oh yeah, just like, okay, just like you got some ignorant racist motherfuckers that support the black on black crime because they look at it as, hey, we ain't gotta do no more fucking hangings. We ain't gotta do no more lynchings. We ain't gotta go burn no motherfucking crosses on no niggers fucking front lawn and shit. We ain't gotta run these fucking coons out our fucking neighborhoods and shit and keep it all white. No one said anything about that single black mother that was being harassed in Boston by these racist assholes that was throwing fucking feces on her yard, throwing litter on her yard, so that way she can get a fine for how her yard is because these assholes wanted to vandalize it. And she had people coming to her aid and protecting her. No one talks about that, right? I mean, come on now. But yeah, people want to call me ignorant. Like I said, you have a right to support Brandon Tatum. You have a right to support Lucas. You have a right to support me. You have a right to support whoever your favorite content creator is. But also, if you're going to support them, you can also support them by pointing out where they are wrong as well. I have people who follow me. You can point out where I be wrong. I'm just saying. But anyway, this video was basically to respond to a comment talking about, yeah, you knew what Lucas was talking about when he mentioned Tatum's white wife and white kids. Yeah, I did understand what he meant by that. He meant that that's the go-to attack when it comes to black women when they see a black man with a white woman who have shit to say, nothing positive, but always something negative to say about the black community. Yeah, I understood that point. So I understood why he said why he had a white wife and why that was frowned upon by certain people in a certain community. Is it right? No, it's not right. I'll say it myself. And for people who got lost in this video, I'll say it again. I'll reel it back. Hold up, because the fish is getting away. I myself am a person who's biracial. I myself am a person who have been with white women, who have kids by white women. Okay? Yep. And yes, I do take care of them, just in case people say, do you take care of your kids? Yeah, I do. Yes, I pay my child support. Yes, I send money on birthdays and Christmases and other holidays. Yes, am I in another state where I'm not around my other kids, they're grown. But for my son, he's with me. And if he's not with me, he's with his mom. You know, we co-parent. Okay? So, I want to debunk that shit too. Um, also, talk about reeling the fish back. I'm gonna see if I could reach out to the amazing Lucas because the conversation that we had that touched upon that very subject, he said was very interesting, and he said it was a good conversation because I told him I had a similar background, a similar experience that Brandon Tatum had. I went from growing up in Hartford, Connecticut, to moving to Colchester. One part of my life, predominant black, predominant Puerto Rican. The other half was predominant white. But you don't hear me shitting on black people. Um, am I pleased with like where we are today? Nope. Nope. Because there's too many division amongst ourselves. There's too much people thinking that they're better than each other. Um, there's a term called crab in the barrel. Instead of supporting each other and lifting each other up, helping us to get to on common ground. You know, because before there was very little division in the black community. We all fought for one common goal, and that's to be equal. But since we got this taste of whatever, now we just branched off into different categories and expressing our distaste for one another. But anyway, until next time, until next video, peace.